Happy full moon, happy FOMC week, happy quad OPEX week, happy final week of 2024. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's not going to be good morning for those watching because I know it's 3:10 in the afternoon over there on the East Coast. You are all watching football, either the Jets and Jaguars, the Commanders, Jesus fuck, Commanders and the Saints, the Ravens, the Giants, the Bengals, the Titans. What else do you have here? Yeah, that's pretty much what's going on until the 4 o'clock games kick off, which will be on in about an hour. And I know that those who are watching can tell you every single thing about the team and their favorite team and the stats and this, but couldn't tell you what the range of SPX is for the month of December and why that fits into today, December 15th, being your full moon and what that means as well. So, welcome to the final week of 2024. That's it, boys and girls. It's over. After this Friday, which is quad witching OPEX Friday, it's over. Christmas falls in the middle of the week. The week after that, New Year's falls in the middle of the week. Thus, this is the last trading week of 2024. Before we go any further, I do want to give a shout out to MK. Five-figure day that you had there on Friday. Good job, great job, excellent job. But I'll also throw a little shout out over here to Ed, who, once again, we only had that chance to do that one-on-one call a couple months back. And again, here you go, giving me a message in the middle of the week, having another good week, up 12K so far. If you're struggling to figure it out, again, this is why I was so frustrated on Friday, because when you quit, I don't get a chance to help you anymore. I don't get a chance. And if the internet was to go off today and never come back on, it would be the happiest day of my life to never, ever go online ever again, because I don't need any more money. My wife kidnapped me Saturday morning. Saturday morning, I was kidnapped. We wound up going here, over there to the Shangri-La over in Cebu. Not only was it incredibly peaceful, because you got to remember, I mean, 20 years ago, we were paying to download ringtones. Now, the majority of us have our phone on silent, if we even have a phone near us. I never have my phone near me, and as you can see from the intro there, I think iPhones are a complete piece of shit, because I get a much better video off of a Samsung or a Huawei than I do off of an iPhone. But anyway, I got to play 6 holes, pitch and putt. It's pitch and putt, that's all it is. But I did get to play 6 holes over here on Saturday afternoon, barefoot, the only way to play golf. Love the Cebu Shangri-La. I love everything about it. I love, in fact, as much that, oh, and here, because this is shot on a drone, I'm going to cover the drones, and not that I have anything specific on it, but I found something that I think is pretty credible, and I'll end the video off with that as we go. So anyway, let's go over our recap here, because the S&P closed red last week. So like I said, you're getting that red week. There's nothing to be confused about whatsoever, and you got your close below 60.83. The I don't know, 4 or 5 different alternatives that I threw out to take advantage of the red weekly trade during the course of the week. Well, all of them, including the one there on Friday, which paid probably the best. Every one of you got your full credit. So 3 green weeks in a row going into last week. You got your red week, and you had red all week long other than Wednesday, which I forget what it was on Wednesday, but I believe that was the Broadcom AVGO earnings report that skyrocketed the NASDAQ. And we had a green close there because, again, you don't get 3 red closes in a row. And when you do, you know that your third red close is the last red close that you are going to get. So we got 2, Thursday and Friday. Monday, don't know. Very questionable. However, should we get that red close on Monday, you better damn believe that on Tuesday, which Tuesday will be a dead floating fish day because it is the day prior to the FOMC meeting, which is on Wednesday, I would not be having high expectations for volatility to come in, which another one I will cover as we move forward. On the month, 70 points. 70 points for the month of December. 2 weeks, and we have moved 70 points. So once again, boys and girls, you are still easily 130 points shy of a minimum expectation of a month. So just take 130 points added to the 70, with the low being 60.39. Take 130 points away from 60.29, and what do you got? You got 5,900. It ain't that fucking difficult to figure it out. So that's what we're looking at as we are right here. Again, we could be looking to the upside. However, I don't know how you're going to be able to get that as we progress forward. SPX over on the credit spreads, once again, coming in here for the month. Failed on the first day of the month. Risked $1, lost it. Failed here on that Wednesday with that AVGO fucking explosion after CPI. Risked $2, didn't get it. Been doing pretty damn good, and when you come out to it, we are now at 260 trades during the course of the year. 216 wins, 44 losses with an 83% win ratio. And again, when I look at the losses, I look at these failures, which can be rolled. If they were to be rolled, and there were quite a bit of rolls, the risk is very minimal, and more importantly, the rolls I do not count as wins. Those are booked in there as total losses. So again, 83% win ratio, 16.92% loss ratio. I don't know how the Yankees did. I don't know how the Bulls did when they had their best years. But again, when the numbers do work out, you started out with $500 and only $500, and you traded perfectly the way the alerts went out. You're up 45 grand, up 9,000%. But let's just go with half of that. You didn't do as well as all of these full credit scalp out trades, the majority of them being full credit. You only wound up with half of that, but you still took full, complete loss. You're only up 19 grand. You're only up $3,800 from your 500. But more importantly and more significantly, you figured it out on how it fits into what you got going. And then you were able to make the adaptations to start adding more contracts, scalping, playing both sides, doing however it is that you like. I only look for it as the easiest path with the least amount of risk as to what is the simplest for those who do not want to be in front of their computer screen all day long. So, coming on to the QQQ. QQQ. 1, 2, I don't know what you want to call that end of the month there on November, where we closed down 0.16 points. If you want to give that an asterisk, that it wasn't really a red week, that we've got 4 green weeks in a row going here together, that's a judgment call. That's totally a judgment call as to what to do. However, for the month of December itself, we're up 19 points so far. We're up 19 points. I don't know how much we are up for the month of November. However, we are now trading into the 530 ranges, and this is where I want to really spend a little bit of attention, because I don't think that people understand what it is when they talk about weight. Weight, and what the Mag 7, what the weight of the indexes, the NASDAQ index, the S&P index are. So quickly go over here with the Russell 2000 with a rare, very rare red close there on Friday. Russell 2000 got its ass kicked last week, down 7.48%, down below that 235.38 target. Down here in the 233s. 2 red weeks in a row. We'll have a look at that as we move forward here. So again, coming on to how we ended the week over here, we ended right here at 60.46. Boom, boom, boom. Not great, not fantastic, but you did end here at 60.46, up 6 points for the month. 6 points for the month of December. That's how much we are up. So call it what you want when it comes to bullish. So anyway, let me run over onto the charts here real quick because I've got quite a few things to go over here. SPX, this is the month of December, the whole month of December. And as you see here, 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time. 60.35, pain in the ass. That 60.35 will be reckoned with as we progress into this week. Up here on top, that 60.75, which I made a judgment call to produce. As you can see, 60.65 is 60.75. Sorry, 60.75 is 60.75. And that move up there to 60.75 there on Thursday faked everybody out, and kabam, that's why you got paid. Your move over here on Friday to 60.75 faked you out, and boom, once again, why you got paid. 60.75 is what it is. We got a long way to go before we start looking at that 6,005, 6,009 area down there on the bottom. But this is the month of December that we're looking at right here. So let's zoom this out just a little bit. Look at a 15-day. And as you can see, now you start seeing where the move came from. We can go to a 20-day, makes it even easier to see, because what we're looking at is that dip there at 58.53. That's where our zoomed in focus is at the moment. 60.41, we already got that. Are we due, which we should be due, to see that 6,005, 63 with 6,009 right there, and that gap that fills down below 6,000. Expected that we would be getting it this week. They're saving it until next week. This week, starting here, the week of December 20th, with OPEX, the full moon, and, as well as you know, the FOMC meeting coming on Wednesday. So, again, we are bearish with the 10-day well above the 5-day at present, 10 points. The 20-day still floating down there below, just above 6,000 for the moment. But, again, we got 2 red closes in a row. I wouldn't have high expectations on getting 4, 5, 6 in a row. So we'll see what we get here on Monday to clean that up. But more significantly, I would not be playing a bullish put credit spread just based on that data. Just on that data alone, I would not be playing a bullish put credit spread. So I bring you over here to what very few ever pay attention to. And what this is the RSP. The RSP is an ETF. The RSP shows you the equal weight S&P 500. We topped here November 29th, which you can see on the Dow, you can see on the Russell 2000, which we'll go over in a couple minutes. And this has been doing nothing but going down for the better part of 2 weeks. Right down to the 50-day moving average. And this is the equal weight S&P 500. So you have your signs. You do have your signs. And when you zoom out here and you look at where you came off of from back there in October, you can see here a very clear 1, 2. Very easy to call this a 3, with this being the 1, 2, 3. 3 coming right to the 162.18. A 4 dip due, which would take you down roughly to right around where the October lows were. Right at the end of October there. That would be your wave 4, and then should the rarest of rarest Elliott wave setups be, then you have your bounce for your wave 5, which takes you up into the S&P 6100s. But again, tax year is coming. Tax year 2025 begins in January, very much like tax year 2022 began in the beginning of January of 2022. Bring you on here to the QQQ. Looking here at the QQQ for the month of December. And as you see here, as we started out here, down here in the 508s, below 510, explosion, float up, explosion, dip down. Big move there on Wednesday after the AVGO report. And here we are floating in the most ridiculous and stupidest of ranges up here in the 530s, with 510, 507 still the first downside targets, with this gap still unfilled here at 517, 519 as we only came down to 520, 519 over here on Tuesday last week. Look at your Russell 2000. You can see it very identical to the equal weight S&P, the RSP there, just topping here on November 25th and floating to the downside, breaking that 235.38, failing at that 235.38 on Friday, and now starting to push down towards the 50-day moving average, as it is the second most oversold index that is out there, that being the IWM, the Russell 2000. The most oversold index that's out there is the Dow Jones. And the Dow Jones, you can see the same thing, topping here on December the 4th, and having just been bulleted to the downside since that move. Wider view, just to see this on a wider view here, you can see how you have already come down below this wave A top over here that I'm calling it, up here at 444. So this is bearish. There's no question about it being bearish. Looking at it from a bigger and broader and wider point of view, and you can see here how you've pretty much extended yourself as much as you really could, going up a little bit more than almost 50% from the bottom over there in October of 2023 when Israel invaded Gaza. You chopped around for the better part of April, May, June, July, and then only as we went in here to the big August sell-off that took place on the S&P, on the NASDAQ, did everything start to shift into the Dow as the Trump trade started to begin. But from a shorter time frame, this is very oversold, extremely oversold when you look at it from a 4-hour point of view, ridiculously oversold. So I would be looking for a little bit of relief going into the Dow, going into the Russell 2000, and where it would come from, it would be coming from the NASDAQ, the QQQ. So while we're here, let me bring you on to, again, where are you? Where are you? Here. The S&P 500. When we talk about weight, okay, we're talking because it is a weighted index. You've got your Apple, your Nvidia, your Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Tesla, Google, 2 tickers for Google, and we'll just go ahead and throw AVGO in there because of it being significant in terms of weight. These 9 stocks, which are really 8 because Alphabet is counted twice because of the 2 tickers, comprise 35% of the S&P 500. So you have 500 companies in the index. These 9 tickers are 35% of that entire index. Come over onto the QQQ. The 3, Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia, of the 100 companies that are in the QQQ, Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia make up 24.37% of that 100 companies' weight. When you bring in the same, call it 10 names, Netflix, Alphabet, Tesla, Meta, Amazon, Broadcom, Nvidia, Microsoft, and Apple, those names make up 53.79% of the QQQ. And thus, this is why these have to be on your screen if you've taken my advice and put up a 55-inch TV. You don't need to look at the entire chart, but you need to be able to at least see when they are selling Amazon and moving it into Apple, when they're selling off Nvidia and they're moving it into Google, they're moving it into Tesla, so that you can see the rotation and you can understand why QQQ is not selling off. Why is it not selling off? Apple's down 5%, and it's because they're rotating from one into the other. So, again, this is knowledge for you to have. That's all that it is. It's not a trade to take, but this is knowledge, and this is the reason why When we say everything is inside the QQQ, it's because everything is inside the QQQ. The S&P is a donkey with no dick if it didn't have these 8 names. These 8 names get decapitated. The S&P is down 25 fucking percent. Everything is inside the QQQ. So, again, going back over to the charts, again, QQQ, there's your Dow, there's your IWM, or there's your Dow, the IWM being prior to that, because of how ridiculously oversold that these two indexes are, and with the insane sell divergence that you have on the NASDAQ, the running 4-hour sell divergence is ridiculous. Asterisk, not posted here. I can see that rotation definitely taking place. So coming back over here on the S&P, I'm simply looking at a 90-day. I'll pull out to 180-day. And again, tracking this move off of the sell-off there into July. Still looking at this as having been an extremely close, if not perfectly top, with 609 having been where my top target was, and 609 having worked until we went into the beginning of December after Thanksgiving when we broke up above it. So a move down below that 6,000, 6,009 area is my primary focus as we go into this week. I am looking for us to dip down below 6,000. That's my expectation. I'm still looking for that move to be down there, right around below 59.31, and we've got the 50-day moving average down here at 59.04. Now, tracking it just only coming off of that dip there to 56.96, that dip here, just as we went in prior to Trump, would take you right down to 58.98. That would be a 50 retracement. I'm not saying that you are undoubtedly getting that, but you would still be holding up above that 58.53, which is as low as we expect anything to be going into as we head into the end of this week. And then we have the final 2 weeks of the year, which really aren't 2 weeks of the year because you've got the holidays there in between. So, upside, call it 61.25, 61.30 if you want to call it and you want to, look at that. By all means, I won't say that it's not able to be done. But again, just because of how everything works and how everything moves around, I would be looking down there for this move to be taking place for a dip down into the low 6,000s, down into the low 5,900s, and possibly into the upper 5,800s before I would start looking for upside move. If it doesn't come, it doesn't come. But at least you're not taking a risk at 60.50, looking for a move of 40 to 50 points to the upside when you've got 150 to 200 points to the downside, and you're going into one of the most volatile weeks that you're going to be looking into, which I will bring you into here with the VIX. We will expand this as we avoided 1339 very luckily there on Friday, as we were already down there at 1339 early in the morning, and then we got our spike up. But we still got to get up above that 1410. Above 1410, above 1451, and more importantly, once we can get above 1410, 1451, we haven't even begun, but at least we've started. We're progressing into that 1622. We're progressing into that 1811. We're progressing into the Trump dump. The Trump dump from back here when we were trading at that beautiful, gorgeous 2102. And then Trump got elected and we fucking went into the fucking shit. Where, again, coming back onto it, the S&P is going into Monday. We're going into Monday having completed 26 trading sessions without a plus 1% day. The last time we had a plus 1% day was when Trump won. On the minus 1% day, which we did have there back on OPEX Friday of November 15th, we're now going into Friday or into Monday having not had one for 19 trading sessions. So we're getting volatility whether you like it or not as this week comes. And it will be a whipsaw. It will not be in one direction only. So get ready because you are going to get shaken about. And as we are here, FOMC days, Look, FOMC days, they are pretty standard. You do nothing until 2 o'clock. From 2 o'clock, really 2:30 until the closing bell, 4 o'clock, that's where the entire day comes. From 2:30 to 4, that final 90 minutes of the day. Last couple of ones have been pretty shit. Actually, November 7th was really shit. But again, that came 1 day, 2 days after Trump had won the election. So call it what it is, because we were on the Trump train. We were more on the Trump train than we were on anything else. September 18th, that was pretty fucking good. We had a 74-point range. July, not too bad. June, that was one of the worst I've ever experienced. But then again, July as well, going back to last year, was pretty shit, where we did have a 0.25 hike, and we sat there fucking 35 point range for the day. So FOMC's on Wednesday. You got to remember that. But more importantly, and what you need to stick with, and this is your reward for having made it this far into the video and not gone back to watch football or porn or cats, whatever it is. This is quad OPEX. I will bet my right nut this Friday, December the 20th, from where we closed on Thursday, this Friday, we are closing red. We are closing red on Friday, December 20th. So if I went into this and said, well, FOMC, this rotation due to take place, I would say, you know what? I ain't doing nothing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I am not trading at all. I'm waiting for that close to come on Thursday, and when we get that closing bell at 4 o'clock, I'm going to have my trade ready at 350, 355, 345 prior to the close on Thursday so that I can bet and go into that credit spread on Friday that we are getting a red close on Friday, December the 20th. Mark my words. So, back over here onto the VIX, 1410. We got to get up above it. We got to get above 1451. We got to get back up above 1502. We got to get back up above 1542. And as you can see on all of my drawings, every single one of these have played a resistance pivot. 1451, bang, 1410, bang, 1387. Problem there into the end of the day there on Friday. Here, again, 1339. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done when it comes in terms of the VIX. So I leave you here with, again, your full moon, which is taking place right now. I watched it for many hours tonight, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Your full moon is taking place right now. So you want to go and call it that you have your full moon bottom, that your bottom's being placed with that 60-35, and the 200, 130 points that we're shy are to the upside. I will not disagree with you. I won't. You want to say that your full moon top is in. You're looking for somewhere right in here to fail, right around that 60-80. Could very well have been that 60-85 that we put in there earlier in the last week, right up here. What was this top? 60-92, right there. That was inside the full moon window happening here on Tuesday, Wednesday. Zoom yourself out. Take a little bit of time, since you know everything about your NFL teams. Take a little bit of time. Go out there, see what this is all about, this full moon. Why do people talk about the full moon? What's the significance of the full moon? I've got to change some of these numbers. I won't waste your time doing it now. But a couple of these numbers, you're off. You're off quite a bit from October of 2023. Where are we? Got to move this, and I can't move it. I can't do it. So anyway, these are your full moons, and as you will look back and track on your full moons are pretty significant. And let's move this into a 4-year view. Let's look at this from a 4-year point of view, just so we can be able to see it all. And this is where you're looking at here. You're looking at 2024 being almost identical to 2021. And here we are with our 2021, that little dip that came, and the full moon bottom placed right on December 20th, right on OPEX Friday. And then the move to the upside into the end of the year as you went into 2022, which was a brand new tax year after having been up a ridiculous amount coming off of the COVID bottom from quite a bit of time prior, 18 months, 19, 20 months prior to that. And here was your 2022. So, again, I'll bring you through as many different views. Here's your Russell 2000, your Russell 2000 fractional little downside that it can have. You are due to get a bounce over here on your Russell 2000. But yeah, again, bringing you back over onto the QQQ to be able to see this from a big, broad, wide point of view. And all that we're looking at here is going back to the October of 2023 lows, right? Down to that 342.35. You had an 11.76% decline from the July top, which, as you remember, we were short for that. And we were long here as we got into the bottom here, into October 27th. You've had a 31% move and minus 8% drop. 21.9% move, a minus 16.86% drop. And here we are up 25.91% coming off of that August bottom. Zoom out even further, and you can see here your move that you have had off of your 2022 lows. 254, 533. You're up over 100%. 20% incline, 9% drop. 36% run, 11.76% drop. 31%, 8%. 21.9%, 16.86%. And anybody that looks at this with a naked eye will sit here and tell you this is wave 5. This is wave 5 completing, and the downside move that will be coming off of the wave 5 will be nothing but filling gaps. Filling gaps which go after you get through that 471, start trickling down and start making a very large impact, because whether you like it or not, all of these gaps are going to be filled. Every single one of these gaps are going to be filled. So enjoy what you trade and trade what you enjoy. And more importantly, going on to the drones. Let me get on to the drones part. So coming back here, again, I segued into the drones because, again, Tulloy Foundation. Anybody looking to make charitable donations prior to the end of the year doing their tax planning, my suggestion, the Tulloy Foundation, the one I've been working with the street kids over there in Pampanga. On their page, I'll share the page. A couple of you asked me for it on Friday, and I sent it over to you. You've got your details here of who to contact if you need tax credit. Certification is needed. Send your donation to, and here's your details there in Rochelle, New York. You need to contact them, you need to be in touch with them, and that way you can get your 1099 that you can, or whatever it is that they call it nowadays, that you can put on there for your tax reference. You've got your US dollars. If you want to do a Swift bank, you've got your euro. You have, well, there's nobody here except Nancy. Nancy arrived on Friday, and she just found out that she's not going to be able to come down to visit me because of the traffic of the road that is busted because of the flood. So, again, having been on here with Cebu and the drone and all of that, these drones that are over there in New Jersey that are flying around, that everybody is now extremely interested on, I found something. I found something very interesting. I found something from somebody in the drone industry, and I'll share that with you here as we finish off this segment. And again, I wish you all a advanced happy holidays, an advanced happy FOMC day, an advanced happy quad OPEX witching week, and more importantly, I'm here to help. All I want to do is help you to become bigger, better, stronger, more independent, so that you no longer have to be able to worry about you, your family, and your loved ones And trust me when I tell you, it's one of the greatest feelings in the world when you are totally free.
Hey everyone, my name is John Ferguson. I'm the CEO of Saxon Aerospace here in Wichita, Kansas. I'm not normally a TikTok kind of a guy. I like watching this stuff every once in a while. But I'm a manufacturer of unmanned aircraft, military grade unmanned aircraft, as you can see one of my systems here. There's all of these mysterious drones going on off the East Coast, and as a professional, as a subject matter expert, I wanted to give you all my opinion on what I think could be going on with these drones. I don't particularly believe that these have a nefarious intent. I could be wrong, but I want to give you the truth and what I believe. It's my own opinion, and I've not bounced this off of anybody. So, if you think it's bullshit, whatever, that's cool. I don't want to spread misinformation, as we know that there's a lot of that going around. But anyway, back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan had dismantled the nuclear program, and there were, with Russia, there were countless nuclear missiles that were disarmed and disposed of. Well, there were over 80, I believe. There were over 80 nuclear warheads that were in Ukraine that came up missing. Okay? We don't know where they are. Maybe somebody does, but nobody really knows where these are. And I speak with some pretty high-level government officials on this stuff, and it seems as though that is the case. So I spoke to a gentleman a few months ago who was trying to raise an alarm to the highest levels of our government, which they had their ears closed, about this one particular nuclear warhead that he physically put his hands on. He physically touched this warhead that was left over from Ukraine. And he knew that that thing was headed towards the United States. Okay? That is a very serious deal. And everyone knows that the United States government, this administration, is pushing to get into a war with Russia. We all know that. We all feel it. We all see it. Okay? Well, back up a few years. Do y'all remember when those drones were mysteriously flying across the Interstate 70 corridor from Colorado up into Nebraska, down here into Kansas, and out into Missouri? Well, it was believed that those drones were looking for radioactive material because there had been some material that come up missing here in the United States, and they felt like it was high probability that the nuclear or the radioactive material would be taken along the Interstate 70 corridor heading east or west or south. So from what we understand, they were out there trying to find this radioactive material. Now, drones, they have no reason to be in the air at night unless you're doing some type of ISR work, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, looking for bad guys, or looking for a victim, a search and rescue victim, or law enforcement, or some type of military project, right? There's no reason for a drone to be flying at night, really, okay? Because they don't see shit. So, unless you have thermal optics, drones really don't see stuff. You need to do mapping during the day. If you're going to do farming stuff, you mostly do it during the day. The only reason why you would ever fly an unmanned aircraft at night, is if you're looking for something, whether it be a person or trying to smell gas. We have methane gas detection systems that can detect gas leaks in pipelines. You really wouldn't use thermal optics for trying to find gas leaks, just simply because the only way you're actually going to find a gas leak with thermal optics is if the gas leak is aggressive enough that it has a difference in temperature, because radio thermal imaging, it creates a digital image based off of the temperature variance. So whatever is different in temperature, it creates an image. Usually gas leaks so slow that it goes quickly into ambient, before you can even see it. So we have special sensors that can detect gas leaks. We also have special sensors that can detect radioactive material. So with this gentleman that I had spoken with, who was trying to raise the alarm to try to get somebody in the government to say, hey, we need to work together to go try to find this nuclear warhead, none of that ever happened. They knew that warhead was on its way to the United States. That's all that ever came of it. Nothing ever happened. This government did not do anything at all to help this gentleman raise the alarm and raise awareness that there is a very deadly weapon on its way to the United States. It's out there. Nobody knows where it's at now. It left Europe. Now it's gone. So my guess, my own guess, is that these drones are not nefarious in intent. If they are, they are, but I doubt it. But if they are drones, the only reason why they would be flying and flying that low is because they're trying to smell something on the ground. That's it. There's no other reason for a drone to be flying in the air other than to piss a bunch of people off at night. That's it. So, my belief is they're trying to smell something on the ground. Gas leaks, radioactive material, whatever. So, and do I think that they're coming up out of the ocean? No, I don't think so. Drones that are multi-copter type drones, not the fixed wing aircraft that look like regular airplanes, but the multi-copters, they only have so much battery life. They have hybrid versions that are gas powered with electric, but those can still only fly for a short period of time. There's no way in hell that any drone is going to go miles off the coast as a multi-copter and fly into the interior of the United States and do a bunch of work and then turn around and fly back. It's just physics will not allow that to happen. So these drones, I believe, are launched from a location that nobody knows, but I do believe that they're flying low enough that they're just trying to sniff the ground and try to find something. So, again, I hate to be a pessimist or a guy that thinks, directly to the negative. However, I know as a professional, we build professional stuff for the military. I believe that they're actually out there trying to smell something that's very important. So anyway, let me know what you think of this video. I'm not trying to gaslight. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just trying to let people know that this is a serious deal. It's only serious for what the potential could be, or for what the potential is. There's a lot of them out there. They're flying all over. They're flying low. They're flying at night. There's no reason for it other than to smell something. So anyway, God bless. I hope you all have a wonderful Merry Christmas. And let me know what you think of the video. Thank you.